Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. How is your morning going? Mine's is going pretty good. Still unemployed right now. Day by day, we all going through something, but we still got to get to our destination. I'm pulling up the disclaimer for everybody. I hope everybody having a good morning. I hope you slept well last night too. I do. I hope you really did. Few things to talk about. Few things to talk about. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, it's plugged in. Sorry, y'all. My computer is buffering. You know, technology things, right? Stuff we can't control. Guys, I'm not gonna tell you no story. It has not been many updates, but that's good. Not many changes. Um, a lot still talking about the big beautiful. A lot of professionals are still talking about the big beautiful bill act. But we still can create some new stuff though. 'Cause that's what we do. We bring up the stuff. We bring up the information of why change is needed. Where my pen? Computer is really slow. Really slow. Disclaimer. The video presented here for the the video presented here is for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend an institution, please specialists at your institution that you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of creator Henry is only speaking from his experience. Now that we got the boring stuff once again out the way, let's go. So, one of the stories, I'm not gonna start with a story today. I'm not gonna start a story today. It's gonna come in between. So one of the topics that I came across, I felt like that we all should talk about, especially if you're going to college or thinking about college, is obviously in the headline. Is AI bad for college? Y'all can hear me? Okay. Is AI bad for college? I didn't even go to the control room, guys. Control room. It's a good question, right? Is it? Is AI bad for college? Is it bad for you schooling? Is it? And the answer is, I'm going into the room, guys. Hold on right quick. So if y'all start talking in the chat, I can see and hear you all. And we should be good. Yes. So, is AI bad for college? One of the highlights. Well, first, let me get my perspective. It's kind of balanced. Is AI bad for college? It teach AI takes away just from using it personally. I use it for this. When I use AI in college, a lot of times I come across words I don't know. And when I come across words I don't know, I like to highlight that word, put it in Bing, Google, or what's that place? ChatGPT, for example, right? AI. And AI is gonna give you a lot sometimes. So normally though, I will go right back to like Bing or Google, and then I look at a picture of that word because when I was studying for a test, it had a word section, and I wasn't very good with words. As I said before, my wordplay is not good. And when you need to come up with words or remember words, and like all words are the same, they have the same like, beginning like like pre, which means anything that's being prepped or before, for example. And I didn't know that at the time. So ever since, that had helped me with my words and get better with words and understanding. And so getting familiarized with words. So when you see a word, it comes back to normal. Is AI bad for college though? That's the topic, right? That's the question. So it's like, has AI made things worse? Has ChatGPT made you feel smarter in school if you use it? Have you used it to read articles for you? Like, hey, blah 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 blah. This article is written by so and so, because AI, ChatGPT. I'm not an AI expert, but AI is like, or the ChatGPT version at least, is like a high-powered freaking search engine. And what it does is going to give you anything you want, pretty much, that you need to research. So you get this article from a professor. Um, that professor article will pop up and it would tell you about the article. And then you say, oh, I want the highlights. And I want the highlights. I actually just seen that Apple commercial, if I'm not mistaken. Um, AI, Apple has a AI interface, if I'm not mistaken, where if you're working on your MacBook, an Apple MacBook, which we're gonna look up, because I know I wasn't mistaken. Apple AI future. Yeah, I seen that commercial. I believe it was Apple guys, and I was a little shocked with it because Apple is like, it gave them the whole highlighted text, and like it was crazy. Like, how you do a commercial and they said the student was reading, and then the student, like, I guess didn't feel like reading, so they highlighted it and then asked Apple. Apple like recommended, like, hey, do you want us to provide you the highlights? And they gave them the highlights like in 1 to 5 bullets, 1 through 5 bullets. And I'm like, that's crazy. But I don't know. I feel like you need to read. I feel like you need to read. I feel like it's gonna be like, no, you can get left behind not using it, but at the same time you can get left behind now knowing how to read still. Letting your reading comprehension fall behind. And so, because AI is supposed to help how we do things, not think about doing it, but ways to do it differently. AI is supposed to give us the options of how to do something, and then you go from there, right? But one of the things I say you can use AI for, right? We know higher education is rigged, right? When it comes to certain things. At least that's what I feel when I hear students talk about they're never winning scholarships. They're never winning. They're never getting into school, right? Some students don't really. Students don't have information. Students don't have information. Parents don't have information. You think in the day of 2025, parents will have information to know what a college admission is asking for, right? And so one of the things that I think that higher education in general, but that people should know is, I'm going to it, guys. I'm trying to get back to it. That people should know who work in higher education is be mindful of. I don't know if they do have security on it yet. I don't know. I never worked in admissions or anything. But one of the things I would worry about if I was a higher ed professional, if they were in here, students and parents using AI to write, like, I'm not sure for the word for it, but a letter to, like, it's like a letter to get into the school, or write something to show why you are a best fit for our school. Of course, you got to take tests, but sometimes it's like, show us your writing. Show us, like, what can you, why you feel you should be admitted into this school. What if students are already using AI? I think they are. But what if they're already using it and then higher ed doesn't have any, what's that word? Any security on it. So it's a thought, right? And you just have a whole, like students really taking the time to write to get into the school? Are students really writing their own scholarships these days? These days, are students writing, like, is anything being written by students? Question mark. And it's interesting. It's really interesting to think about. Is AI bad? Um, I use AI. I use AI for media. Guys, like when I'm writing certain things, I use it. It helps me flow out some things when I'm trying to edit videos. I'm like, AI, work on this, do that, and then AI be working. So that helps me a lot with my workload. And so the AI, it says the reading age in AI, not really. And then there are some bright spots. They said, this is by, who wrote this? It says from Rick Seltzer. So shout out to Rick Seltzer. They're on the Chronicles of Higher Education. If you don't know what the Chronicle of Higher Education is, it's a very left wing publication. I do try to find right wing publications too, so we can bring both perspectives to the screen. I don't believe in a one way thinking. I do like to bring both perspectives. Even in college, in my grad school, I like to bring both sides into the picture. Um, and eventually, when we get more people in the chat, we can talk on them things. But there's no need to go really in depth on that if you're just a person who's trying to watch the screen and keep it pushing, right? So there are some bright spots in this AI. Some professors who teach small discussion-based humanity classes believe the pandemic hangover is finally lifted. Students are more interested in diving into books, or at least they know they should be reading. Still, students' minimalist approach to reading means professors are assigning far less material than before. I'm not really sure what I was supposed to get out of that, guys. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to get out of that. All I got from that was the pandemic hangover. I never got affected by the pandemic. I lived through the pandemic, and it's crazy to say. I can tell you exactly what I was doing, but I can't tell you yet because I can't tell you yet. I gotta know when the time is right. I really can't tell you guys yet. Like, I really have to know, so the pandemic wasn't that bad for me. I don't know if it's because being from a low income environment, poverty environment, or whatever. Um, Being in the house was probably the best thing. I could tell you what I did. A lot of people invested. They bought the dip. You know me. Some people already know me besides the camera. You buy the dip, and some people bought the dip in the stock market, and they made a lot of money. See, I was very fairly new. I was like, when the pandemic happened, I was 3 years removed from high school. So when the pandemic happened, I missed that opportunity. But during the pandemic, I had a financial advisor, but yeah, I had one, but they didn't really help me capitalize. They didn't help me capitalize like I should have. So during the pandemic, it wasn't really a problem for us. Like, the pandemic was probably like one of the best times of my one of the best times, chill times, because I played the game with the bros. I discovered this in the pandemic, but I knew I wasn't how I was now, like confident in what I'm talking about. And when we talk about these discussions, right, it all relates back to higher education because right now, during the pandemic, when I was at my 2 year, a lot of students were coming home during the pandemic, and they was. I always ask this question because I don't know if students were the ones who were staying on campus. I'm not sure, but did your school charge you for when they play this video back? Did the school charge you like even though you went back home during the pandemic, did the school charge you for on-campus fees? I was wondering because I know a lot of students don't check that stuff. It could be a parent question depending on the student, but I always wondered that because when the pandemic happened, I never forget so many people was coming home like crazy. Then a lot of people never went back because the school was too expensive and they said some money problems and stuff. Like these are personal experiences, like experiences you can't get in an article. It was very you would think, okay, let's talk about this real quick. One thing about America. One thing about America. Um One thing about any job in America, I'm gonna say that, like higher education. For example, I love getting on to them because they think they're working smart, but they're not working smart really. They should have had, based off of when the '08 housing crisis happened, they should have had a backup plan in case a pandemic happened or another recession happened. Now, back in '08, I was in elementary school. They should have had a plan in case something like this happens again. What do we do if students shut down? Then that's going to lead to the end because presidents get paid a lot. It ain't really about presidents, it's really execs. And like, they get paid so much. And that's going to be our topic for all the money is in college. All the money is in colleges. I probably should have put colleges, but it worked out. So, where we at? Okay. Mm, mm, mm. This is a whose job is it to teach students how to read? Whose job? It used to have to be an obvious answer, K through 12 schools, but most colleges expect that they will need to help build students' literacy skills too, and what comes after books if students are turned away from reading because it is too hard or they cannot be bothered. Can multimedia fill the void? No, no, multimedia can't fill the void. What's multimedia? First of all, if it's what I think it is, what I'm doing now, no. Multimedia. Let's get some answers right quick. Multimedia refers to content or communication that uses forms of media to convey information, tell stories, or engage in audiences. Education, they gave me some examples. Online courses with videos, quizzes, readings, social media posts using music, graphics. Okay, yeah, okay, that could work. It can work a little bit, but reading is fundamental. I only say that because like governments, law, like people who go like I can't. I wish we had a lawyer in the chat or something right now. I can't imagine like if you're doing something with law and they're not going to show you a video. No, no, government is not going to show you a video. Law is not going to show you a video. I say that because anything with paperwork involving government is all paperwork, and that's the disconnect. A lot of government work still uses a lot of paper. They use a lot of paper. Still very traditional. Like I'll probably say they're like, well, it's 2025. I would say the government is not military government, like your courthouse and stuff. I would say they're like 20 years behind, not exaggerating, because they still use a lot of paper. They got some technological stuff, but this is not like no gatekeep stuff right here, guys. This is strictly like, I know we all got a courthouse or something related like government work in our city, unless you really just in the country. I feel you. So No, the kids need to read. Reading is fundamental. For a person who couldn't read, man, it's like not being able to read, man. It's like one of those things you have to go through it. But if you was already reading when you got older, it's hard for you to understand how someone cannot read. And so it's really like how your mind is programmed. If you ask me, I use more of my left side of my head. This is my left side. I know the camera looking like it's my right. This is my left side. And so I use everything on my left, like my left arm. I kick with my left. I played soccer in middle school. I got a trophy, by the way. I was pretty good. I use my left arm. I use my left leg. I use my left head before I use my right head. How do I know? Because I get migraines on my left side of my head before I can get to the right side of my head. So everything I think about is left. Everything people think about is on the right side of their head. So when I had somebody with a right side head, and then man, what my psychology people at? You see how higher education, just keep coming into play? When I had somebody who was right-handed trying to teach me left-handed stuff, my brain goes left to right. Their brain might go right to left. So we're not meeting like we should. I'm like, why would you do that? Like some people, like my brain just thinks different. I can't help that. I mean, I'm left-handed. It's more right-handed people in the world than left-handed. So when I probably was trying to read at a younger age, I probably had right-handed people trying to teach me how to read. Or probably then I just probably got left behind. You know, I try to get answers from people who work in the K-12 area. Some say you just probably got left behind. The classroom teacher probably got distracted, and then it could start there. That's how scary it can be because one day you could be on your level, and then you come across, let's just say they pick an article or a book. I know it's elementary, but they pick a book. It's a class reading book or assignment, and you just don't get it. But the teacher probably was about to come to you. You raise your hand, but they probably was about to come and they never did. They probably got sidetracked. Kid was acting up. Ain't no telling. So I couldn't read. And so I just feel like everybody should read. It's beautiful when you read because I feel like if you don't read and you don't have the fundamentals to read, it hurts you over the long term. And not meaning just like in school, life. Because you can read and learn from people's experiences. For me, I read and learn from people's experiences. Read. I also learn from people's experiences. If you can tell me that's an audio effect, right? I feel like that's audio and real life experience. Because I got an older brother and an older sister sibling, and I got a younger brother. And I can learn from them. And of course, I can learn from my parents. So, like, that's where the listening and comprehension coming in, right? Like, a lot of people take it for granted when somebody tell them something. Like, I don't really want to hear it, but, like, that's why I say reading, because when you read, reading is like, when you read, it's like music sometimes. It's like when I read something I like, I got to read something I like for me. I think that's everybody, but I really have to read something I like and engage with. I like to read stuff that I can apply to my life. And so, how does that help with college? I had to go to school for something that I can apply to my life. Like, when I talk to peers, some who didn't finish college and who did, I talk to them, they like, they want to go to school for what they do. Like some probably want to go to school for live streaming. Some probably want to go to school for like talking about down to earth things, like what's going on in the world. And that's government. Like you can go to school and talk about these things. That's why I always had the academic freedom, right? I always talked about how I felt in my papers. Only thing I had to do was bag it up. So if I couldn't bag it up, I couldn't talk about it. But trust me, whatever you thinking about or want to talk about, it's there. It's just probably phrased very differently. And so I talked about everything. I talked about like my experiences because I'm an organist. So I went to school. This degree right here was from my university. So in that major right there, when I transferred to the university, I talked about organizational leadership. And so don't forget, these are my 2-year degrees right here. I never told y'all that. Never gave y'all the tour. These are my 2-year degrees right here. general studies general studies, one on general studies, and the other one is HR, human resources. Very people skills degree, right? And then my bachelor's, man, back to that one. I liked the classes in those because excuse me, if you heard that. I like the classes in those because they taught me how to think in a way. They taught me how to break down some perspectives, see things differently. And I always saw things from different perspectives, but they really broke it down for me. I learned about the politics, the government relations. Like I learned about let's see if I can do it now. I learned about see, I'm gonna do ChatGPT. I know it's like executive, judicial. Let me see. Let's see if they give me the right ones. Judicial. It should be executive. Why do you do it? Yeah. So I learned about the legislative, judicial branch, executive branch. And so like I learned about things of that nature and how like the taxes, and I kept all the schoolwork. I kept the books. If the books were digital, I kept it all because one thing about government, now it can change. Government can change, but history doesn't change. And you can learn from history. If you got that time in life, you can learn from history. And so that's just one of the things I feel like with education, reading, man, you gotta read. You gotta read. Man, one book can change your life. Like that's why I say I like things that I can apply. I was reading a book about a company in the stock market, man. I kid you not. I wasn't gonna find that information on the internet. I was not gonna find the information on the internet. I had to go get it in a book in some pages. I had to go get it in the page. Some things just not gonna be on the internet. Some things just not. Some things ain't gonna be on YouTube. But let's go. So I don't think it's bad for college. I think it's gonna help college. The abnormal path to college. So you know me, you've been listening. I gotta talk about this with you all. Now I might stop if I catch myself and I stop. Forgive me because hold on. Well, nobody should be calling me, guys. I forgot to put the phone on do not disturb. So, and the stock market opened at 9:30. Shout out to Aim It. I like your show, Aim It. If you ever catch me and watch a live screen someday, shout out to Aim It, man. I like that guy. I like that guy right there. I like that guy right there. He's a Palantirrian. I've been watching him since I've been investing in Palantir. So, the app. So I said the abnormal guys. Why y'all let me say that? Why y'all let me say that? It's the pioneer. They're like the similar words, but I like the pioneer better. So pioneer. Oh, we just got to update. We just got to update. So the pioneer path to college. That's our topic. But we just got to update. We just got to update. We just got to update. Breaking news. We just got to update. We just got to update. A recent review found over $40 million in direct loans and Pell Grants were disbursed to ineligible individuals. The Trump administration is cracking down on fraudulent payments to ensure taxpayer dollars no longer fund fraudulent student aid. What? What? What is going on? What's going on though? The U.S. Department of Education fights fraud and student aid to protect the American taxpayer. That's by the Department of Education, guys. Most credible. Credible over anybody else. I don't care what nobody says. They're credible. Because wherever the government does, it's happening. I'm not going against the government word, or it's coming out of that person's mouth. Unless you have the media of them saying it before it gets posted. And so I don't confuse myself with media. And so they're saying that people who were not eligible For aid, for student aid, like Pell Grants or direct loans, got them. Now, I got a couple problems with this, of course. Now, I'm going to start with the Pell Grants. Now, if the Pell Grants, if you, now, I wish I had my financial aid guy here, but we on the phone right now. I can't call him either to put him to the mic. But the financial aid, Pell Grants, financial aid, if people got Pell Grants and they wasn't supposed to get them, that's a financial aid mess up at your college. That means your college messed up. So if they actually follow through with this, first and foremost, if they actually follow through with this, some people are about to be in trouble. First and foremost, I'm not worrying about like workers because I don't know. These days, people don't never get disciplined for their actions, but students, I can't stress it enough. Students and parents, you are the you're just like the people in the '08 housing crisis. Like when that happened, the people suffer. When things happen in higher education, students suffer. Prime example, real quick, before I keep going with this. It was a time at my 2 year, right? It was a time at my 2 year college. I can't make this up. Shout out to the 2 year. They were, I don't know if they were doing this for a political move or out the kindness of their heart. I don't know. Because it's all business at the end of the day. It don't matter how you frame it. I remember this college. It was like a mom and pop college. Don't remember the name of it. Let me see if I can find it. We got time. We not even, we got time. Let me see something right quick. I should ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT would probably know off the top of their bed. I think I know what college it was, guys. I'm gonna say it. Yep, that's where it was. So guys, this was a local thing that happened in my city, where I'm from. I remember it like crazy, man. I seen people. It was like me getting my first experience of what happened in '08. Man, people were so sad. People were so sad, and I'm gonna tell you. So this school called Virginia College. Yes, y'all are getting on the bad side. So the school called Virginia College. I don't know. Are they a mom and pop school? I don't even know if they're still open ever. But they were a private. Virginia College was a private for-profit college. Stay away. I'm going to clip this. Stay away from private for-profit colleges. Private is okay if you got the money, but it's not really about the private. It's about the for-profit colleges. Stay away from those. Why? For-profit colleges are, what can you say? They're for-profit. And in most cases, sometimes they're a mom and pop school. What does that mean? A mom and pop school is a school that's not even part of the TCA, not TCA. Oh, can't even get y'all a shout out. Can't do that. Can't do that. Got to pay. Mom and pop schools, for-profit colleges usually are not part of a system of where you're from. Like I said, I'm in Georgia. So we have a system of Georgia for our 2 years and our 4 years. If you're not part of a system of a system of that state, that's a risky school. It's a very risky school. So, and then you have to make sure the school is accredited. Because if the school is not accredited, what we talked about in one of the beginning live streams, how they're trying to change accreditation, that is critical when you go to school. If you don't know if your school is accredited, it's pretty much saying like, oh, you got a stamp, right? You have a stamp to be official. Just think of it like that. Like you can't open a restaurant unless you got the approval of whoever gives you that approval. Same situation in higher education. You can't open it. You can open a school, but you can teach the classes. But when you if you're not accredited institution, when the kid says, "Oh, forget this school, I'm going to another school that is accredited," when they go to another school that is accredited, guess what happens? They're not taking it. The school that's accredited is not taking it. Why? Because that school wasn't accredited. That school wasn't accredited. The mom and pop school. So that mom and pop school, guess what? Could have been teaching you everything you should have not been learning. That's why accreditation is so important. So what happened in my city, Virginia College. Virginia College closed down. And yeah, it closed down. They had said the parent company owns campuses across the country, including Virginia College and Columbus. It has announced operations to discontinue at a large number of their campuses. This is a college scandal. Just like how people say, oh, you can't get scammed. Everything is a scam, man. This school literally scammed people. They were charging way over the tuition per credit hour. And please comment in the comment section if you don't remember the tuition per credit hour. I would talk about it in the next live stream. When this school closed down, Virginia College, because I see somebody just dropped in, I see you. When this school had closed down, they closed down 26 of the company's campuses. For one, this school wasn't accredited. For two, they were charging over the tuition per credit hour. For three, the school said when they closed down, they weren't accredited and they charged too much. People who was like, unless you were graduating that year, you didn't get your degree. So you could have been like, oh, I graduate next year. No. So what happened was students in Columbus are stunned by the unexpected news. They didn't tell the students. But what the students are going to be able to do? Their credits can transfer. What they going to do? That's why they didn't tell them. But the students, so everybody in Columbus, give y'all a hint. All the students in the city, I said the city name, but all the students in the city in Columbus didn't get a warning. They did not warn you. That's why I do this. They didn't warn them. You think every college is safe. Let me tell you something. This is a business, man. This is business. That's how they treat this. That's not me. That's how they treat this. So everything has to be a business at some point, right? You have to value time. But not telling bad business. They didn't tell none of those students. Them students paying all that money. They was paying all that money. And they didn't tell the students nothing. They just canceled on them. They said, I'm assuming they said this wrong. I moved here and my 3 kids here to go to school and better myself for them. To just take it all away. There's somebody who said this. Just for them to take it all away, I need answers. I need compensation. I need something, said one student Wednesday morning. The Birmingham-based Education Corporation of America, around 20,000 students enrolled in disciplines like cosmetology. This is why I say, if you can do cosmetology, please check the accredited schools first. If you want to do culinary arts, check the credible schools first. What's credible? Check the credible schools, what we just talked about. Accredited. Those are credible schools. They had cosmetology. They had culinary arts. They had medical and dental assistant programs in 75 campuses across the U.S. In this situation, my 2-year offered all of that. And just for you, if you're in a different state, why would you pay more money for something if it's somewhere else for a very affordable cost? Just because it's just like driving a foreign car. You think because you pay more for a foreign car that the car is better than a reliable car. I wish I had people in the comments naming some reliable vehicles. And so this is very good. This is very good while we're talking about this. So if a 2-year that's accredited or any school that's accredited and they got affordable numbers to you, I like paying $1,500 at the time for school. I like they paying $1,500 a semester. And I like paying it every time. I wish I could have did it all 4 or 5 years in college. So that was sad. And they just shut down on them. And a lot of people, because I used to ask people, before I get off this topic, I used to ask people, and what the school did, what my 2-year did, shout out to them again. What my 2-year did, they took in the students, but the students had to start all over in their program. They said the credits don't transfer. We can't do nothing about it. That's law. So if your school not accredited and you try to transfer somewhere else, hey, you should have did your research. You should have listened to speaking on behalf before you pick the school and then ask them some questions that he talked about. I'm telling you, these people, bro, they'll want their money first before they give you that diploma or that degree, whatever they call it, that certificate, whatever they call that. They would take your money. And that's real life. So you can think going to school is the right thing to do, but going to school is the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong. But if you're not strategic about it, just like anything, it's the worst decision ever for you. So I wanted to get into that because of what we just saw with the posting about the U.S. Department of Education fights fraud and student aid. So now I'm going to jump to something. Let's get some more updates, my people. So I took the pioneer path to college. I took a way to college, man, that was like, I feel like it was, that's how we got this. That's how we got this right here. I don't want to knock it down. That's how we got that. That means more to me than this, and this. You know why? Because I earned that. Now, I earned these, don't get me wrong, but I had to pay money to get that. I had to pay some money. And it wasn't even guaranteed I was going to get these. This right here was not even guaranteed. That's something, nobody else can get that. I like that. I like that. Nobody else can get that. Nobody can get this. Nobody else can get that. Why do I love it? Because, man, I got a debt-free degree. And all I did was start at a 2-year and bridge to a 4-year. And people paths are different. Don't get me wrong. When you paying for college, it takes money, right? I'm just giving you the background of how this all, like, why we do this and how it can help you. You should start at a 2-year and really think about how this can start, but how this can, I was gonna say transgression, but I don't think that's the right word. I was gonna say how this can jumpstart your life. Because starting at a 2-year is nothing wrong. I seen some of the brightest people start at a 2-year, go to a 4-year, and so on. I seen some of the people like me who wasn't even, man, I had to take remedial reading. I had to take remedial math. I had to take that. I remember talking to my dad, man. I was talking to my dad outside of the 2-year. Like, should I go to school there to get a bachelor's, associate's? I didn't know at the time. Like, I was like, should I go to school? And he was like, yeah. He was like, man, you smarter than me where I was for your age. That's all I needed. Because being in special education, Ain't nothing like having your confidence stripped from you. Ain't nothing like it. You can't explain. I can't explain that to nobody. They never like, unless you just not confident now, you can relate. But not being confident enough to know you can pass a class if you put your mind to it. It brings the phrase in, you can do anything you put your mind to. No, really. You can do anything you put your mind to, but you need the resources though to do it. And when I was talking to my dad on that front in front of that building, man, and I got that first B, I promise you, when I got that first B, it started everything. I started passing all the classes at the 2 year. I started passing all the classes at the man. I was going so hard at the 2 year trying to train. I was using the what they call it. We called it a support center. I was using the English support system, the support bill, like the support lab, support center. I was using the math support, like math support lab center. I was using it. I was asking the questions. I was figuring out how to take this test because all they were doing in math is giving me a test. Teacher, he'll scribble on the board, whatever, like usual, and then we expect us to know on the test. All right. I got some for that this time though. I'm about to learn. I'm about to learn something. Don't worry. So I had to go to the basics. I was missing the basics. You need the basics to elevate to the advance. Remember that. You always need the basics. I don't care what nobody says. So I was getting so good, and it made me so proud to have that because most people think, Henry, I know I say you need money, but at the same time, all right, the way it's set up, if you don't have money, you should get the pill. And we know we're going through some changes now. Things going to be a little harder, but we got this. We got this. We're going to stay in this. We got this. Some people who don't have the money might get the pill. Some people who got money, they can still mess it up if they don't pick the right college. So everybody got to listen here, right? And I did that. I did that. Like, I navigated how to, on the fly. Because it wasn't like I got a pep talk in my, it wasn't like I got a pep talk on how to navigate this when I was in high school. Man, it wasn't no plan for me in high school after sports. It was no plan for me. Play baseball. Didn't want to do that no more. The program was terrible in high school. Went to basketball. That didn't work out. And I did cross country my senior year in high school. I should try to do that, but that's a lot of running. That's a lot of running. I'm pretty good still running, but that's a lot of running. And like, when I was going through that, man, like, I remember I would go to my academic advisors and I have it mapped out like what I need to take. And they'd be like, oh, Henry, you can't. Like, I was mapping out my classes and like, oh man, I need to contact this. And I was like, who offering it? Because you could check the system and see who's offering. Man, I'll email the instructor, be like, hey, I need to take this. They'd be like, I guess they were so impressed that, oh, he need to take this already. He ain't telling me like a day before the semester start. He telling me months in advance. I'll open this class for him. They said, I will open this class for you. You will be the only student in this class. And I was the only student in the class. Professors have so much power if you respect them. That's why I say respect is everything. Respect. These people are taking time out their day to educate you. One thing about an educator, they don't just want to like educate you for money. They have a passion for saying like, look, if you know this can change your life. And they know like deep down, some professors know like they just don't have it. Like they might not be a business owner, but they can teach you how to like, look, you have all the things to be a business owner. But what you were missing is your basic accounting skills. What you're missing is how to know if you're getting played in the room. You know, because some people learn from the streets on how to navigate rooms. But you can learn how to navigate rooms and know if people trying to play you in school. They can teach you that. How? When you go to networking events. They can teach you how to read rooms and stuff. Like, man, you think college is only book work? That's only for people who are not engaging at school. You got to engage at school. So when I was up there taking this different path to college, and I went to once again the 2 year, then I'm at the 4 year, then like I'm saving money because a lot of my peers are blowing money because their school is so expensive. I'm negotiating with people. I'm like, hey, how much is it if I stay on campus at the university? They're like, it's this much. I'm like, for 2 semesters or 1 semester? They like, that's for the year. I'm like, And what I did, here's some game for y'all. My rent, because I had 2 roommates at my university. My rent was like I'm gonna say 487, guys. Pretty much 500, but those little numbers make a difference. My rent was 487 when I was at Valdosta State University. On-campus housing was about, let's go look real quick. This is what I love to do right here. This is what I love to do because it make a big difference just laying it out. I'm gonna go look at Valdosta State University right quick. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm gonna go look at Valdosta State University because they could go up. They could have went up. I said went. Is that a word? It could have. It could have rised up. I don't know, man. My word. Y'all can see this. I'll be talking, man. Maybe I don't know. From Georgia, I heard some things about people talking about us in Georgia. On campus housing. Hold on, y'all. Valdosta State University on campus housing. From I got there in 2021. Yeah. I'm gonna say for 2021. Not ChatGPT or Google AI trying to tell me. Uh, prices. I'm gonna say prices. I know they have went up, but I still want to get the number. So what I do, guys, I usually type it in on Google. If I can't find it on the website, I do not use AI for this because I don't know if AI is wrong, but AI just gave me the citation of the fee schedule, which is dope, which is much faster and can help us. So this is effective fall semester 2021, right? And so this is when I enrolled at the school. So right here they have, I'm gonna zoom in. You have to be a little good with computers. Hopefully you are. So like for one, you get to choose which type of housing you want to do. You got the resident hall. The total price is gonna be 2,300. That's off of, yeah. The housing at a minimum rate was 2,300. So what I did, I said 2,300. Well, my calculator, 2,300. I'm like 2,300. Like I kept saying it when I was negotiating. I wasn't even negotiating because I couldn't make them drop the price. But I'm debating like where I could find cheaper prices to stay. So is that for one? That's for 1 semester. They say total 2 semesters. So per term. So look, it was 2,300 per semester. So which makes no sense. So you was looking at 2,300, 2,313. Now, 2,313. If you do 2,313 times 2, that's 4,000. That's 46. I'm just gonna say that's $4,600. Why? Where did the 2 come from? Because 2 semesters. Remember, guys, always 2 semesters. And so that's 4,600. Hopefully, one day when we get set up, we can be on the board or something showing you. But on the phone, we gotta make it work. You just gotta write this down with me. So the housing minimum at the school was 2,313, and for 2 semesters, it would have been 4,600. You're saying, oh, that y'all probably like that ain't a lot, here. Nah, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's on top of your tuition. Remember, my tuition was like 2,500 per semester. So we already like at what 25 plus 4. Well, I'm gonna say plus for the semester because it was definitely 2,500. I was already that's $7,000. Remember, Pell is already max 7,000. Like I said, Pell can't help you. Pell can't help you, and so like if you're dependent solely on Pell to help cover your costs for on campus amenities, your room and board, your dorms, your dining, tuition, the 4,600 once again, which is your total for 2 semesters, your minimum rate of staying on campus. That is that's going to take away from your Hope Scholarship. That's going to take away from your Pell. And you will exhaust that money very quickly. Very quickly. And you don't want to do that. So when I was navigating, I asked them, I said, how much? They said the minimum rate was 2,300. So my rent was 487 potentially at the time. They said, we'll give you a rate. Your rent was 487. It could have been cheaper. I'm just say 487. I know that was one of them. That's why I was the second one. So instead, I did 487 times 12 because I'm paying rent for the year. I'm signing a year. I know I'm gonna be here for a year in college. This is why you gotta know when you graduate. I don't graduate till 2022 December. So I'm signing till at least a year, right? At least a year. Because the lease I got there in August. So my lease gonna have to be there for another August. But I don't graduate till December. Boom. Because when we go into the next year, 2022, it'll be another August. So yeah. So 487, that's all you gotta do. 487 times 12. 487 times 12. That's 5,000. 5,844. Now you're probably saying, Henry, it costs you more. It costs you more to stay off campus than to stay on campus. Right. Why would I? Well, not why. Guys, this was a monthly payment of me staying off campus. My rent. Now I paid attention too, because VSU, shout out to them again. While that's a state university, they gave these recommendations of staying off campus. They said, oh, it's on their website. They said, this don't work for you staying on campus. Please look at our off-campus options so that you can still become a student and come to school and save money. They provided me with off-campus options. They recommended this apartment complex and many others. So 5844. I was like, oh, okay. Me, I'm thinking, I had a car at the time. Now the car now I got to pay a car note on that, right? The car before, my old 300 Santa Fe, man, I miss that car so much, y'all. I got a newer car now, but I miss that car so much. That car saved me a lot of money, but cost me a lot of money too, but it helped me save money at the same time. I was like balancing. I said 487. Car insurance was handled by Daddy O. He volunteered to take care of that. Shout out to him. But I still pay. Oh, that's another story. I paid cash for that car, $2,500 with my school refund check. We could talk about that too. But well, not this one, probably the next one. I'll make sure to write that down. And I was like 487 rent. I can pay that with a part-time job in the city of Valdosta. And I actually had 2 job opportunities when I went there and interviewed. I used my associate's degree. We're navigating, right? I had an associate's degree. I could have went into HR work. I could have got an HR part-time job. I could have got an HR full-time job. I don't know if somebody would did it, but I could have got an HR part-time for sure. I could have got a part-time job. I was looking at colleges, getting a part-time job at a college. And then I had a full-time position offer at VSU. The money looked good to be a full-time student. The money looked good to be a full-time student, and a full-time worker. And so, but I wasn't trying to chase the money. I was trying to chase a job because that's why I intentionally did administration, like a front desk job. Why? So all I gotta do is answer the phone, set up some tables, set up tables, email, phone calls, CRMs, working on like e-blast and all that stuff. So things of that nature. That's not complicated, right? Trying to get a simple job so I can focus on school. I was full time online. That's another thing. For me, they still was getting online was actually a little more money. Online is like a little more than traditional, like you go in a class. I don't really, we have to discuss that with some people. We have to discuss openly about that. But online was a little more, but it wasn't crazy over amount. I could sacrifice that. To work full time, I could do that. And a lot of people often ask me, I should have made that a topic. Um, we can still talk about that. We can still include that. This will be a little longer today. Um, I'm writing that down, y'all. I'm writing this down so I don't forget. Let me get back on topic. I remember getting that question. And so the 487 times 12 was 58.44. And so that was a monthly payment. And pretty much I took the full-time job at VSU. I was working there and going to school there. All my peers there. Shout out to my peers. Shout out to Justin Carter if you ever watched it. Justin Carter, salute. Great person, man. Justin Carter was on that Valdosta High School state championship team, but he also is a great public speaker. Soon to be great things too. But we can't explain them plans because he coming. Just know he coming. And but all my peers, man, I was like at that time in 2021. What? Um, I had to think about my age, how old I was in 2021. It's 2025 now. I'm 26. So in 2021, getting ready to be 2022, I was turning 23. Yeah, I was getting ready to be 23. I'm always a year ahead of the year. So in my age. So I was 22 snagging a full-time job. The people used to say, the people who worked there at the college, they used to be like, I had a desk. They was like, how old are you? And I'll be like, 22. They say, you're 22 working full-time? I'm like, yes. They're like, you're in college? I'm like, yes. They're like, and then I can't say the other part. But then they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah. Because guys, I didn't want to go to school the traditional way. This is why this is a pioneering path to college. Yes, I was tired. Don't get me wrong, I was tired working full time and then had to turn around and do my school assignments. That's why I was online. Athletes shouldn't be the only ones that can go to school online because they're full-time athletes doing, they're practicing all day, traveling, going to game. Well, I'm finna travel and go to work. That was my ideology. I'm finna travel and go to work. And then they ain't got, athletes got time to party somehow. The college athletes and turning their schoolwork. I didn't even party. You asking, I didn't party. I'm waiting on that. I didn't party. So I had time to go to work. I had time to go do my schoolwork when I leave work. And then I had time to chill. Read a little bit. It's 24 hours in a day. What you gonna do with them? And that trailblazed me, man. Like I took the money that the school was doing, trying to charge me, and I put it back in there, use their money. Now, and I'll be honest, I didn't even use the benefits of the college. The benefits offered where I could have used, now y'all gonna get me for this when y'all play this back. The school, the school offered, what is it called? The school offered, um, it's called TAP. That's what it's called. And pretty much what it is, if you're a full-time employee, the school is going to pay for your school. The school, like wherever you work at, if you work in higher education at an institution in the state of Georgia, in the university system of Georgia, they're going to pay for your schooling, your tuition at your school. I didn't even use that because that's how ahead I was. I was like, for one, I wanted to tell y'all like it's possible to pay for school with your own money. You just got budget and save and do right. But now I got older. I listened to some older veterans, who done more than me in this realm and understand what I'm trying to do. Exhaust all your resources, man. I had a hard time because on my background. I said, oh my look. Okay, nothing. I had a hard time, guys, that I had a hard time exhausting my resources based on the background that I came from. I felt like resources are bad. I think we all can speak for that. I feel like resources are not good. I feel like, oh, it makes you weaker, but resources help you, man. It makes you better. It makes you, like it's intelligent to use your resources. If you got this benefit here, and these people gonna pay for your school, and you snagged a full-time job, let these people pay for your school. Save the other money and do something else with it. That wasn't my thinking though. I was like, no, no, no. I was like, this method ain't gonna work if I keep exhausting all the other resources that other people potentially can't get. So I'm saying, if you can't get scholarships, snag a full-time job that will pay for your schooling. If you can't get a full-time job that's gonna pay for your schooling, get a part-time job, live on less than you make, and then live with your mom or something. Like, live with your parents as long as you can. That was one of the biggest regrets I did. But I didn't want to go to my state school in my city. I really did not want to go there. So I wanted to leave. And I wouldn't change that because I made a great connection and some other ones along the way. I wouldn't change that experience for nothing. And so stay with your parents as long as you can. If you don't mind staying home and going to the state school, stay home. Stay home. Don't make this complicated. Staying on campus ain't the way. So I would take the money from this all included, man. I know you might want to chop it up, speed up, but this is where I took the money and I would pay the rent, right? I'll pay the rent. We can go over how much I made next time. I'll take the money from my job and then I'll pay the rent. Because the money, the 4,600, that's coming out of your hope once again, and that's coming out of your Pell once again. So that was gonna make your Pell and Hope or whatever you're using, because Hope, remember in the state of Georgia, we use Hope. Now, when we get some more people from different states up in here, they can tell me what their secondary is, and they're gonna be like, "Here, what's the secondary?" I'm gonna be like, "Okay, in Georgia we call it Hope." So if you have a certain GPA in your state, usually it's like a GPA base. If you have a certain GPA, your state gives you extra money to go to school pretty much. And so hopefully I can find something with a list of items so I can be like saying these out loud for people in different states. So yeah, I didn't want the 4,600 going toward that. I wanted my Pell and my Hope to go straight to my I wanted that to go straight to tuition. I didn't want my Pell and my Hope paying for a room and board. I'm an online student. I'm gonna be working a full-time job. I'm not gonna be there, right? So let me just pay this 487 a month and then be cool. Yeah, I'm paying more over the long term, but my schooling paid for. I can pay this rent. I'd rather pay an extra $1,000. See, now we negotiating with ourselves. I'll pay the extra what? 58, 44 minus 4,600. Because Henry would have got the cheapest rate if he stayed on campus. I'd rather pay the extra 1,244 so I can pay the 2,500 of school. I'd rather do that. Because I ain't had to take out no loan. This is cash. I'm cash cowing. Oh, you need 47 on the first of the month? I got you. That apartment complex had water and everything tied into it. I didn't have to pay no Georgia Power bill or nothing. All I had to do was pay rent. Straight college student. I had to pay that rent flat rate. Boom, done. That was another deal. That was another sweet. Like, come on, guys. We working. This is what we do. This is what we do right here. We get the calculator out. We talk about it. So we're going to move to our next segment, and I'm going to hopefully get a small clip for y'all on that one. And so all the money is in the colleges. What that mean? So that means all the money is in the colleges. So like, oh, he did it. He did a put. I know I might say some stock stuff when I see something. He did a put on something. I ain't gonna say it out loud. Amen. So, I like this. Degrees and skills. Might do that for tomorrow. That's about the inside higher ed, guys. We're gonna look at that tomorrow. I'm gonna look at that when I get off with you guys. So let's talk about the money in the colleges real quick. We went on a little tangent. It was a good tangent though. It was a good tangent how we got that associates, that bachelor's, and now it set us up to get our masters. We're doing that same blueprint. We're doing that same blueprint now for our masters, right? We're doing that same blueprint. Remember, I went to a rural area like Valdosta because I knew rent was affordable. I couldn't do this if I went to a city like Atlanta or a city like California. I probably could have because California got free community college. I probably could have, depending on what I'm making. I'm staying at home the whole time though. I'm staying at home the whole time. Sorry, Cali, y'all expensive out there. Y'all expensive. I know for sure y'all expensive out there in California. All of it. So, where's the money? So, I really didn't know what school to do. I didn't know what school to do. I didn't know. I'm doing my thumbnails for y'all. I didn't know what school to do. So, what I'm supposed to be talking about right now is all the money inside of colleges. In colleges, I know my thumbnail wrong, might change, I don't know. So it's a higher ed pay tracker. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I think this is why I got kicked off Instagram. They kicked me off Instagram. Thought they knew I love that app. No, I'm just playing. I ain't love it. I'm just playing. All right. Now, I was off social media for like 5 or 6 years. Like, when I don't think Instagram was a thing. Might be showing my age. I don't think Instagram was a thing when I graduated high school. Probably was. I don't think it was. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So, I was off social media for 5 or 6 years when I graduated high school. To focus on me, find me, need to figure out who I am as a person. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't a STEM major. I wasn't a lawyer. I wasn't a stock market person because I didn't catch it like I caught this. I'm a higher education navigator. If you're looking for ways to get through college and how to go about it, I am the blueprint to that. I'm gonna give you like, I know how to get through there. Playing sports. Baseball. Throw it to first. Double play. Triple play. He tried to bunt. I'm going to the home plate. No, going back to the first. I know how to do it now. I played it. Hey, but I didn't know. So I'm from Georgia, so I'm going to do the University of Georgia. So in the past University of Georgia, past president made from 2010, starting from 2010, they was making $425,000 a year. It's a lot of money. Now, I said something like this on live screen, real quick. People don't know in higher education, we are the best sellers in higher education. We are the best sellers, period. I don't care what nobody say. What makes y'all the best sellers in higher education? Because not America, but what is it called? The student loan debt is almost $1.7 trillion. These people have made you believe. I contributed to it. So I worked in higher education my whole career. And you paid the salary of this president in 2010. And so from 2010 And we somehow told you that we still somehow you believe like going to the most expensive college will change your trajectory in life. And so that's like really that's selling, right? That's selling. Not lying, it's selling. And so you contributed to this man having this salary. And don't get me wrong, not man or woman, don't get me wrong, but $425,000 a year is this could have been through endowments, this could have been through donors, this could have been through alumni, this could have been through ain't no telling what is making them get paid this much. I do know a problem though. The people on the small end, I can't speak for this institution. I can't speak for the University of Georgia. People probably are paid really well there. Everybody. But what I'm saying is your president, your college president makes a lot of money. And from 2010, they made 425,000. And then it stayed the same actually for until 2012. After 2012 and 2013, it went up to 440. And then we're gonna keep going. And after that, it just kept going up. Boop, kept going up. Boop, it kept going up. Boop, it kept going up. Boop, it kept going up. It kept going up. And then now it stops at 2022, but in 2022 they were making 682,000 plus some other compensation, which gave them an extra 237,000 a year. So they eating good. So for everybody who think higher education don't make money, they make money, make a lot of money, a lot. Bernie Mac. So 682. We gonna say 682,000 plus 237,000, 237,000. The president made in 2022, they were making like 919,000. Could be more than that now. Could be more than that now. I'm pretty sure it's in the millions. So for everybody who don't know, these college presidents make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. And so professor money, I was reading some data. Professors are falling off. I wasn't reading deep in it. Professors, which is called faculty, they're falling off a little bit. I guess they had got rid of some faculty during the pandemic, and then that went down a little bit. But at other places it went up. But at bigger schools it went down because a lot of schools was losing students. A lot of bigger schools were losing students. So normally I feel like when things that's bad happen, I had to go do a trail and compare it. I don't know like when the '08 crisis happened, did people leave college, like bigger colleges because it was expensive, but in '08, what was the money looking like in colleges? Was college affordable in '08? Or was it getting expensive or was it already getting there? I just know when I left high school in 2017, college was and is expensive. And so faculty, professors, some of them get paid pretty good, some of them don't, depending on the school you go to. But one thing I can guarantee you is that the university president makes, that'd be a thing that they make a lot of money. University presidents, all presidents at colleges make a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying the work they do is, I'm not saying they don't work. They have to show up. They're like the CEO. You don't see them, but when you see them, they smiling for a picture. I can let you judge that. I just know one thing. If they cut some of that salary, if they can cut some of that salary, and if they can put a cap on how much a college president can make, it'll make a big difference in higher education. Make a big difference. But I don't know how they get this money. I don't know. I don't know the way the pay is set up. I don't know that. I don't know none of that. I don't know that. I don't know how they get this money. I don't know if it's strictly from students enrolling. I don't know if it's strictly from donors saying we will pay the president this, because some schools have big alumni, like alumni who are billionaires. So Who knows? Just like NIL, right? We don't know how these students are getting money. Like we know sometimes it is the billionaires paying to get a student to come play football or basketball or something. But we don't know. So that's always one to highlight, right? And talk about. But and then we could do another school because UGA is not the highest for sure. Let's do let's do Harvard. Let's do Harvard. Now, keep in mind, Harvard is private, but Harvard's such a hot topic right now. You got to look at Harvard. Believe it or not, a Harvard president in 2009 was only making 371,000. And then it was in the 300s, it was in 300s. Then it went to the 400s in 2011. And then it stayed in the fours. Then it actually went down. Oh, we forgot to mention non-taxable benefits. That's interesting. So apparently at this institution at Harvard, the college president was making 371,000 in 2009, but they had non-taxable benefits, which is 81,000. So they're making like, yeah, 81,000 pretty much, and non-taxable. And then they had other compensation, additional 14,000. But some of that they can set up the funds a little different, where it can be showed up as something different. But they was making a lot of money at this time, man. Considering after the housing crisis, they were pretty good. And then 2012, like 2012, they're making four something, but the non-taxable was 140. Non-taxable, $140,000 non-taxable. That's dope. So jump to the fives, then they was only making 91,000. They made 507,000 in 2014. They got raised up to 91,000, so they pretty much made like 600,000. And then 2015, they jumped up to 700,000. It's like who determines? It's like who determines? Oh, it got by president. Oh, it got by president. I didn't know that. I was just looking at by pay. I didn't know it breaks down the president name. This is not even me. This is all on the Chronicles of Higher Education. This is on the Chronicles of Higher Education. Public information. Public information. This is all public information. There's nothing wrong about this. This is all public information. If it was private, speaking on it, it's a problem, but that would be a problem, but it's public. And okay, who was the highest paid president? So Daniel H. Weiss in 2015. And then, ah. So they had two presidents in 2015. Daniel H. Weiss, they made 416. I guess they left that year, had to step down. And then they brought in Kimberly Benston. She was making, sounds like she, but Kimberly was making 387,000, pretty much 388,000 when she stepped in. And then in 2016, Kimberly stayed and they raised her pay. I guess she was doing good as an intern. Usually they bring them in, they like, we'll see how you do. She was doing pretty good. So Kimberly, it's Kimberly the Ashley, guys, let's see. Kimberly, no, I don't need that. Kimberly was the, that name sound familiar, actually. Let me see. As I kept saying it. Kimberly. Benston. And as I thought, Kimberly is a male, just with a woman's first name a little bit. So Kimberly, this better be the right person y'all put in here for president. Yeah, Dr. Benston served as they spell Harvard. I said Harvard. Is this Harvard or did y'all give me another school? This is Harvard. I said Harvard. Autocorrect. Sorry guys. Wait a minute. But that college had a lot of money too. That college had a lot of money as well. Okay. I thought the numbers looked off to be Ivy League. All right. As we wrap this up, Harvard, the pay started at the gate $792,000, and then it goes up from there. As the years get higher, the pay gets higher. And so they already touched $1 million, $1.5 million in 2015. And then 2018, they jump up to 3.5 million. And then they got this person left, and then they dropped. The person who was making 3.5 million, the person they brought in after that, they was paying this person 3.5 million to be a Harvard president. And then when they left, they brought in somebody new, Lawrence S. Bosco. If I said that right, I'm sorry. They brought them in on 535,000. I guess they was making too much money, so they said, And then they dropped it to, so then they raised Lawrence S. Bosco money to 1.1 million. And then they actually they pay went down a little bit, and then it went back up a little bit, then it went back up to 1.6 million. All that to say, college presidents make a lot of money. How much did other highly compensated individuals earn at Harvard? The first they got for that, for doing the research, is 2022. You got some other people who's the executive vice president. They made 2.3 million. Professor in marketing, they made 2.1 million. Professor in business, 2 point some. And then the president's not even the highest paid at the institution. And then you got professor computer science, 1.3. Education pays. Knowledge pays. That's what I'm showing you right now. And we're going to do this probably like every time a little bit. But presidents get paid. Presidents get paid. Schools pay. Colleges pay. They say 1 trillion in student loan debt. You see where the money goes. You see where the money goes. To me, this is where the money goes. Until somebody comes in to tell me different, this is where the money goes. I can't wait to have these open discussions about it. They're very paid, very nice suits, it's a lot of money there. And I hope you learned something from it. On the closeout, thank you for listening. I hope you listen. I hope you learned some. I hope everything was informational. I hope there was some information in here that could have been used and some eye openers. Like, I didn't know that. Getting better every day. And so just listen if you can. Start a 2-year. Please start a 2-year, bridge to a 4-year. I hope the story was helpful. If it wasn't, I'll tell it straight next time. Better. And work on that if it was. Or if it wasn't, if it was. So, see y'all tomorrow. See, I got the piece. I know I do the piece at the end. I was doing that first a little bit, but